Hey Shane, great job on getting this page up. And if you had a 6 to 8% conversion rate before, then obviously there are things that you're doing very well. So, not really going to comment on that because I don't have enough information. I'm just like wondering and just looking at this page if there's anything else that you've changed other than the price, because there's a lot going on here, and I don't want to be too overly critical. Of course, just the first 3 seconds is basically what you have when people land on your page, and it's overwhelming. There is a lot of stuff that is like screaming for my attention. There is so much text and it's a little bit overwhelming, and if people get overwhelmed, then like converting them is going to be always an uphill battle. There's a couple of things that I really don't like. This is this like this shadow behind. This makes it all look a little bit like floozy. I know that's not even an English word, but you know what I mean. I would keep it like nice and sharp, and don't try to go too smart with the design there, but that's actually only second rated to your copy. There's so much stuff missing here. Not only that it's overwhelming, but also the message that's being put in front. Like writing copy is actually not that difficult, but there's a few things that you need to know. First of all, humans, we basically only want one of three things. Either we want status, we want security, or we want freedom. That's basically it. And I don't see any of that in your headline here. They for sure don't want a system. Like nobody's waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning screaming, "Oh my God, I want to have a proven system." So this is already like not the right message to go with in your headline. So you have the three wants, but then there are five human desires, and those are prestige, relief, obviously sex, prevention of something, and also wellness. Yeah. So we have the three wants, we have the five desires, and you need to look at like what what want does my product solve? What desire is it going to fulfill out of these five? And then we have the five emotional triggers that is going to create the urgency for people to take action. And these triggers are either failure, they tried some stuff before and it horribly went all wrong. So nobody wants to fail in something. So people will always look for a redemption from failure almost. The second emotional trigger is fulfilling their dreams. Like if you look at any advertising campaign anywhere, you'll see that a lot of them is like centered around dreams, fulfilling dreams. Another one is fear-based triggers. Like, what are they afraid of? What do they want to avoid, for example? Another emotional trigger is suspicions of, you see that in some offers, like against the government, or the IRS is after you, or I don't want to make any like political statements here, but you see what I mean. Like suspicions, like, yeah, there is a deep state, they're after me. Whether they are or they aren't, that's not, this video is not about that, but just to explain to you that people emotional triggers are also involving trigger their suspicions, something that they always knew in the back of their mind, and you go like, yeah, this is it, I knew it, like, so anyway. And then another one is enemies, like who are they against? Like who can they rally against? So enemies is also a big trigger. So you have the three basic ones, you have the five desires, you have one of five emotional triggers. Maybe it could be like two, but you have to look at like what where does this all sit in what I am selling here? And then obviously when you write your copy, there's five things that you could possibly right towards. Those are lust, wanting something, escape, like getting away from something. Again, fear is here. You also have guilt, like a lot of promos have been like, are you the parent? Are you really the parent that you could be, or the best parent? You see, that's like towards a guilt type of thing to write to. And then the last one is anything that is centered around esteem, ego, and status. We all want to protect our ego. So if you do look at these four criteria, like what are the three wants, what are the five desires, what are the five emotional triggers, and what are the five things I can write to in relation to your offer, then you can tighten up this copy already a lot more, that it actually does really grab people by the scruff of the neck, because basically that's what you're doing. You want to pull them in into the copy. Like the job of the headline is to sell the subheadline, and the subheadline is, then here you have a video, is to make sure that I watch the video, and then you have your call to action with the price here. So yes, there's definitely some work there. Other small things is like you need to have your call to action visible above the fold. So make sure that you solve that. And then when we're looking at mobile, let's have a quick look. Let's grab a iPhone 14 here. For example, how well optimized this page is. Not at all. This is way too big here. And basically the only thing that people see is like some text here, and they're already switching off because they have to scroll. So you really have to like get rid of this. For example, does support have to be on there? It's supposed to be a sales app, so support for what? They haven't bought yet. Maybe, I don't know, I leave that up to you. But definitely you see this is way too much text here before the video comes, is too big. So yes, these are huge to look at. If